was always first, and you demonstrate your love like this. No, not that I loved you, but that you loved me first. No, not what I earned, but what you freely gave away. While I was a sinner, you showed me what I'm worth. Jesus, when you bled, you died, so I can live again. No, not that I loved you, but that you loved me first. No, not what I earned, but what you freely gave away. Come on, we sing. While I was a sinner, you showed me what I'm worth. Jesus, when you bled, you died, so I can live again. Jesus, you were my strength when I was falling away. Oh, your love came to find me. Yeah, your love was always first. Grace comes rushing into my soul. You're taking control. Oh, your love came to find me. Yeah, your love was always first. No, not that I loved you. While I was a sinner, your love was always first. Oh, yeah, your love was always first. Yeah, your love was always first.
Hey students, welcome to the high school experience. We are so excited that you're here and joining us today. It's gonna be awesome. We've got some incredible music lined up, and however you wanna participate with that is all good. If you wanna stand and sing, do it. If you wanna sit back, chill, just take it in, go for it. It's all good. After that, we've also got a challenging message lined up, and then we're gonna spend some time connecting in our groups. Speaking of which, if you're not yet connected in a group, we'd love to get you connected. All you have to do is text the word students to 72020, and we've got a group with people waiting and ready to pray with you, connect with you, whatever it is you need. Go ahead, text that number, and they'll be there for you. If you're watching this right now, jump into the chat below and chat with us. Same thing, like if you want someone to pray with you, if you just want someone to talk to, connect with, we're there, we've got you. All right, I think I'm ready for this experience. I hope you are too, so let's go ahead, jump in and get this thing started.
Students, my name is Amanda, and we are so excited you guys are here with us this evening. Tonight, we are in week 3, learning about Samson in our series called The Fight. So guys, if you're not already standing, let's stand up and worship together with the band.
Let's get those hands together, come on. We sing. I was buried beneath my shame. Let's get loud. Who could carry that kind of weight? It was my turn. You shout it out, come on, we say. Come on, louder, students. Hey. Was breathing but not alive. Here we go. And all my failures I tried to hide. It was my turn. Let's try it again, come on. Hey! All right, here we go. shake the roof tonight. Come on. We said, I needed rescue. My sin was heavy, but chains break at the weight of your glory. I needed shelter. I was an orphan, but you called me a citizen of heaven. When I was broken, you were my healing. Now your love is the air that I'm breathing. I have a future, my eyes are open, 'cause when you call my name, I ran out of that grave. Come on, out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave. Out of the darkness into your glorious day. Oh, we say, I ran out of that grave.
Students, we serve a perfect God. Wherever He is, there is healing and there is revival. He loves us, and we're going to sing to Him tonight. Come on.
Word became light in the beginning. When your voice called out in stillness, and the world was dark and void. The sound of hopelessness retreating, as your whisper fills creation, telling wonders of your love. Come on. You speak and there is healing. You speak and dead bones rise. You speak and it moves mountains. You speak and there is life. Come on. Oh, you set the world in motion. Oh, you taught the stars to shine. Oh, display. You speak and there is life. You speak and I'm alive. His love is beyond our understanding. We sing that together tonight. Come on. Love beyond my understanding. But I know you by your promise. You are strong and you are every fiber of my being. God, I know that you are with me, like you've been for all of time. We sing, come on. You set the world in motion. Oh, you taught the stars to shine. Oh, displaying all your good. You speak and there is life. You speak and I'm alive. Oh, you speak and there is life.
Would you pray with me, students? God, right now in this moment, we want to focus on you. We want to feel you in the room now, God. Fully knowing that it is you that is by our side fighting on our behalf. It is you by our side making a way for us. It is you by our side casting light into the darkness. May we focus on you as we sing this next song. You are here. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. You are here. Oh, you're working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. 'Cause you are here. You're moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. 'Cause you are here. You're working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. He's making a way right here now. 'Cause you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God. You sing it over your life, come on. You are waymaker, promise keeper, my God. That is who you are. Yes, he is. 'Cause you are here, touching every heart. I worship you. I worship you. 'Cause you are here, healing every heart. I worship you, yeah. I worship you. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Oh, waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. We say that that is who you are. 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 'Cause that is who you are. That is who you are. Even when I don't feel it, even when I don't see it, even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, come on. 'Cause even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't, right here and now, you never stop. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop, you make some noise for the Lord tonight, students? Come on. He's here making a way. Thank you so much for singing that. You may be seated.
How are you guys doing? Hey, I'm telling you, man, that was powerful. Powerful worship songs together tonight. So excited to be with you here tonight as we are in week 3, our series called The Fight, looking at the life of Samson. And you remember over the last couple of weeks, we looked at Samson's character. We looked at him dealing with anger and his emotions. And last week, when Jake was talking, he was talking about our emotions aren't bad. It's when we allow those emotions to take control of what we're doing. And man, it was a powerful message last week. One thing that Jake said that kind of blew me away a little bit, maybe it blew you away too. He said that he'd only been in one fight his entire life. Did you guys catch that? And I was listening to that and I was like, wow, that's like commendable to be in one fight, not even until he was in college. To hold your emotions and your anger back. And then the second thing that went into my mind is how many fights I've been in. And you look at me, you're probably like, you're not a fighter. I totally am, totally am. And here's where I'm going with this. As soon as I start talking, you're gonna be like, Ron, you are totally prideful. And I'm gonna say, I do struggle with it, I do. Here's how it starts. I would say probably 4th grade. Now, you have to understand, my dad, he's a good man. Really good man. One thing that he said to me in my entire life, to this day he still says, he tells me he's proud of me. And I've always grabbed a hold of that, and that's got me through a lot of things in life. But there's another thing that my dad said to me probably when I was in 4th grade that stayed down deep inside of me that I still struggle with today, and it's like this. Do you remember 4th, 5th grade? You remember being in school, like the only thing that you really cared about was lunch and recess? You guys remember those days? Yeah? You're there, right? And I was that kid, and I can still remember recess, man. I lived for it. It doesn't matter if it was football season, basketball, whatever the season was. Do you remember you were playing it on the playground? You guys remember that? I was the kid that was football season, 2-hand touch, kind of 2-hand touch, a lot of pushing. You remember that? I was the kid that I would lose my voice at school, just fighting for the first down, screaming, yelling at people. I had zero issue with it. But I remember one day, this kid that was a lot bigger than me just fully pushed me down. I got up off the ground and my little chicken wings came out and I was like, what's going on? And he pushed me down again and I decided that kid's gonna knock me out. So I didn't do anything. But when I got home that day, my dad got home from work and I can still remember him asking me, what's wrong with you? You look like you're pouting a little bit. And I'm like, well, it was kind of a rough day at school, you know? It's kind of rough. And he's like, well, what happened? I said, well, there's this kid on the playground, he like pushed me down. And my dad goes, no lie. And hear me out. I know his intentions were great. But he said this, you're a Sanders. You're a Sanders. You don't put up with that. If somebody pushes you, push them back. Knock them out. And I think my dad really meant like, don't be a wimpy little son. Stand up for yourself. But to me, I took it at full permission to fight. And so that's what happened. I was the naughty kid at school. I got in fights all the time. I'm not talking, I do not want to exaggerate, so hear me, I'm being totally serious with you. At least once a week, sometimes three times a week, I got in a fight on the playground. I ended up in the principal's office. Back when I was in school, the principal could spank you. I know, some people are like, are you kidding me? How old are you? I'm not kidding you. There was a piece of paper that went home with the parents. You know the paper you have to get signed and bring back, like, hey, permission slips and all this kind of stuff? One of them was permission to spank your child. And yeah, it was real. And I would say that the last time that I got a spanking from Mr. Lincoln, love him, was probably, and I'm embarrassed to say it, I'm gonna say it and then let's move on, probably 8th grade. Yeah, I know, embarrassing. But here's the deal. To this day, remembering who I am and standing up for myself is still a little bit of an issue. I'm gonna be super vulnerable with you. I was talking to some of my friends this week. I said, hey, I think I'm kind of prideful sometimes. Do you see it? Am I kind of confrontational? And both of them said, yeah. I was like, well, thanks for that. Like what? And one of them said to me, well, I notice if we're talking about things that are kind of like you have an opinion, I have an opinion, you're the first one to kind of barrel up a little bit. Like either roll a chair over closer and be like, what? Or maybe even like take a step forward like, what? And I'm like, I'm that guy? I thought I was like really good, like Pastor Ron guy. He's like, no, you're a little bit confrontational like that. That's kind of how you are. And so I could say, yeah, that's my personality. It's something I struggle with. But really what it is, it's something that exists in every single one of us in this room. It's called pride. And there's a root, a small seed of it that's in every single one of us. Maybe you didn't fight on the playground, but there's other things that you struggle with. And I'm super excited tonight as we look at a moment in the life of Samson. You remember we're looking at Samson. We're looking at things that he struggled with that kept him from being fully used by God. And tonight, we're gonna look at Samson, a section of scripture, and we're gonna see that pride is what comes out swinging in Samson. So if you remember from last week, these stories are crazy, right? You're reading it, you're like, wow, this is amazing. Last week, if you remember, Samson threw a total temper tantrum. His anger, his emotions got in front of him. You remember he had issues at home, something about like his father-in-law gave away his wife. You remember this? You remember all this stuff? Do you remember the riddle that he was telling and he was betting on? Well, he flips out and he kills like 30 dudes just to get the clothes off their back to pay his debt. And then, if you remember, he captured a bunch of foxes and he tied like torches to their tails and sent them free in the Philistines' fields, their fields that they were gonna harvest, and torched it all. You guys remember that? I mean, he flipped out. And where we're taken off right now in the story, after that just happened, he torched the fields. Samson is hiding out in a cave. He's hiding out in a cave. Now, I don't know what you guys watch on TV, but anything, I don't care if it's Netflix or a movie or anything like that, anything that has to do with fighting, like even sport, like UFC, I'm all in. If you're in my family and you've ever witnessed me watching a UFC fight, I feel like I'm there. Like I want to be there. I'm all in. If I'm watching something like Vikings, you guys ever watch that? All the fighting that goes on in that, man, I love it. I eat it up. I'm picturing where we are right now. It's like a scene from Vikings. The Philistines are coming. And they come to the Israelites and they show up, and it's like an army of 1,000. And you can just picture, you can hear them coming. And they approach the Israelites, and the Israelites are like, what do you guys want? And they're like, we want Samson. We want Samson. Like if you heard it, they'd be like, like picture 1,000 people strong. We want Samson. And the Israelites are like, time out. By the way, this is my own interpretation. Okay, it doesn't say this in the Bible. Time out. Chill here. We'll be back. So what do? They go find Samson in a cave. Samson's hiding out in a cave, and they say to Samson, hey, the Philistines are here. It's a huge army. They're ready. They want you. And Samson's like, okay. And they're like, here's what we want to do. Because we don't want to die, we're going to turn you over to the Philistines. And Samson says, okay. I'm being serious. I don't know why he said okay. All I can figure is this. He is used to being a one-man army. He's used to God's power coming over him and him defeating people. I mean, he's a strong guy because God makes him strong. And I have a feeling that he knows without a shadow of a doubt that no matter what he's thrown into, God's gonna take care of him. He's gonna take care of him. So that's what happens. And they say one last thing. They said, oh, by the way, when we take you, we gotta tie you up. And he's like, okay. They tied him up with rope, and they marched him right over to where the Philistines were. And this is where we're gonna take off. Are you guys in? You guys are in, I could tell. You guys are like, what happens next? Let's look. Judges 15, verse 14. It says this, as Samson arrived at Lehi, the Philistines came shouting in triumph. Hear it. Like flipping out. Here comes Samson. But the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon Samson, and he snapped the ropes on his arms as if they were burnt strands of flax, and they fell from his wrists. Then he found a jawbone of a recently killed donkey. He picked it up and killed 1,000 Philistines with it. What? Did you hear it? He's in a cave. They say, we're gonna bring you. He's like, do it, tie me up. He gets there in front of the Philistines. There's 1,000. And he's standing there and he's looking at him, and the Spirit of God comes on him. Like he feels it. He knows what it feels like. He's felt it before. And the ropes just break and fall. And he's standing there. What would you do? I will fight. That's what he did. And you're saying, like, why would he kill people with a jawbone of a donkey? This is weird. This is weird Bible stuff. What's going on? Here's the reality of it. There's a carcass of a donkey laying on the ground, and he just picked up the jawbone and got crazy, killed him. Like with God's power. It would be like if you're back somewhere and there's a bunch of people trying to get you, and you're looking around like, what am I gonna pick up, a rock, a stick? There's a bottle. I mean, he just picked what was there. It was convenient. It was weird, but it was convenient and it was successful. He kills 1,000 through the power of God. And there he stands. Picture him like just a ripped dude, just standing there. He just killed 1,000 people, adrenaline pumping through his veins. And he's standing there like with God's power all over him. And then he does something super weird. Super weird. He makes up like a little poem or a song or I don't know what it is. It's like a little chant thing. I'm gonna read it to you. It's in the very next verse, verse 16 and 17. So picture him. He's standing there. There's bodies all around him. And he says this. Then Samson said, with a donkey's jawbone, I have made donkeys of them. With a donkey's jawbone, I have killed 1,000 men. Kind of rhymes. When he finished speaking, he threw away the jawbone, and the place was called Ramahat Lehi, which translated means Jawbone Hill. So check it out. There is Samson. Power of God came over him, and he defeated the enemies of the Israelites. Like God used him in a powerful way. And in the very next moment, he, full of adrenaline, says, I did it. I did it. I did it. I did it. I killed them. Look at them. They're heaped up. It's me. I did it. I picked that jawbone up and I killed him. I did it. And then he has the audacity to be like, and I named this place Jawbone Hill. I mean, he's completely taken all of the credit for what God did. I'm so glad we're not like him. Can you relate to it? God does powerful things, yet we take the credit. There's something really crazy that happens. He gets himself in a little bit of trouble in the very next verse, verse 18. It says this, Samson was now very thirsty, and he cried out to the Lord. It doesn't say that he prayed a special prayer. Like he full on cried out to the Lord, like probably at the top of his lungs. And he says this, you have accomplished this great victory by the strength of your servant. Must I now die of thirst and fall into the hands of these pagans? So in a moment, after victory, he takes the credit. And in that very next moment, once the adrenaline's gone and he realizes what he's done, his humanity is right in his face. And what's the one thing that he cries out for? And it's water. All of a sudden he realizes his human needs. I'm thirsty. God, are you gonna save me? You just used me to do this big thing and you're gonna let me die of thirst? In the moment, Samson realizes what he's really, really struggling with. And it's pride. It's pride. You know, I know that many of us struggle with pride in our lives. I know that I struggle with it. I was open at the very beginning, but I know that we all struggle in certain levels with pride. The key thing to what we read tonight is verse 14. And it said this, it said, the power of God, or God's Spirit, came on him in a powerful way. You see, the power that Samson had, and all of what we're reading about him, the power that he had was supernatural. It was from God. God breathed it into him. God gave him victory. It was God and only God. But in the very next moment, when he was victorious, what did he do? I did it. He took the credit. He took the credit for it. I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably thinking, you know what, Ron? If I was one of these people who like God used in a powerful way in the Bible, I know what I would have done. After I defeated all of those Philistines, I would have knelt down and just thanked God for using me. I would have praised him for his power. I would have told him how great he is. But Samson didn't do that. It's easy to picture ourselves in that situation. But the reality is we really can't judge him because I think that we all struggle with this. Now the story maybe seems like, wow, this is a crazy story, but if you think about it, picture it for a second. What are the gifts, abilities, the talents that God has given you? How has God used you in a big way? And when he has you taken credit for it? Many of us, maybe in this room, you're like, you know what? I kind of do that sometimes. Yeah, next time I score the winning touchdown, I'll make sure that or next time I hit a 3 and we win the game, I'm gonna make sure that I don't brag about it. I'm not talking about that. Sure, that's a big thing to do. I'm talking about the times that you have tried everything in you to make the conversation about you and what you're good at. I know I do it. Have you been in a conversation with people and they're talking about something, you just die in for that thing to turn and come right back to you so you can let them know how great you are. And then we do it in a subtle way. We're very careful, but we love to hear how great we are. It's something that we all struggle with, You know, I know that many of us have probably heard, whether you read the Bible or not, you've probably heard Proverbs 16. You've probably heard it. I'm going to read it to you. Proverbs 16, verse 18. It says this. It says, pride goes before destruction and haughtiness before the fall. Pride goes before destruction, haughtiness before the fall. When you are prideful, when you bring the attention back to you, like Samson did, what happened to him? He became overwhelmed with thirst and he cried out to God. His humanness was real. He realized that he didn't have any more power. The strength, God's strength was no longer with him. When we take the credit, when we point back to ourselves and not to God, that's exactly what happens to us. We fall. You see, Samson, I believe in that moment, I believe that he learned something, and I believe it's something that we need to hear, every single one of us. That when we take God's credit, we lose God's power. Did you hear it? When we take God's credit, we lose God's power. And what I mean is this. When we say, me, I did it. When we have done something great or we have a great gift or ability or talent, we've been successful, and we automatically are just super excited to talk about how awesome we are. When we don't give credit where it's due, we lose God's strength in our life. What I mean by strength is we lose God's ability to use us in the way that he wants to use us. You see, every single one of us in this room, we're created by God. Each of us, a son and a daughter of the Most High. And he's given all of us unique gifts, abilities. And I'm not talking about just those things that we all notice, like you're a superstar at sports or you're the smartest person. I'm talking about all of the gifts and abilities that he's given us. Sons and daughters. And he's given those to us for one purpose only. One purpose. And that's to point other people to Jesus. You know, I was thinking a little bit this week about pride, and I started thinking about all the things that I struggle with. And I thought if I stood up here and told you everything I struggle with, you'd be like, he's a loser. That he's crazy. But I'm gonna throw a couple things out. These are things that could maybe hit all of us in this room tonight, things that we struggle with. You know, I think that a lot of us take pride in friendships. I think we take pride in friendships. Like being the best friend. Like maybe it's this way. Maybe you've seen a post on social media. One of your friends, maybe it's one of your friends, and it's a beautiful picture. Like they did some photo shoot, and they're posting some pictures. You like it because it's your friend. It's like, heck yeah, that's beautiful. And you open up the comments, and somebody's like, gorgeous, BFFs forever. You guys know what I'm talking about. I look at these things. And then the person that posted it, you're my bestie, thank you. Heart emoji, kitsy face, whatever. And then the next one, you scroll down, BFFs forever, since kindergarten. You know what I'm talking about? And as you're reading that, down deep inside, what you're thinking is, I'm the best friend. Let's be real, isn't it true? You know what I'm talking about. You have relationships with people and you're like, how can everybody claim BFF? Because I'm the one that was there since the beginning. I'm the one that sat down with her when her parents were divorced. I'm the one that she cried on. I'm the one that was there. And we struggle so hard because what we want to do is get credit for being the best friend. It's real when the reality is God has given you the ability to be a great listener. God has blessed you with the gift of being a great friend, a comforter. But it's so hard because we struggle. We want it to be on us. And it could be a bunch of other things. It could be any talent that you have. It's such a struggle for us to not take credit. You know, I believe that down deep inside of all of us is a desire to not be that way. I think it's something that we all fight with every single day. Pride. It's rooted down deep inside of us, and it's something that's worth fighting because God created us and gave us what we have, how we are, to point people to him. Some of you in this room are probably thinking, so next time I do something good, Ron is saying I need to announce it to the world that God helped me do it. Nah, I don't think so. I mean, if you get, you take a final here this semester and you get 100% on it, and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to show everybody, but I shouldn't because it'll be prideful. I need to get on the morning announcements at school and see if they'll let me announce that God gave me the ability to do really good on tests. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about attacking it this way. When you're good at something, when you're successful, don't talk about yourself. If somebody compliments you, receive it. You don't have to do the false humility thing. No, I don't know. Just receive it. But in your conversation, point other people to the goodness that you see around you. It doesn't have to be every time, oh, thank you for recognizing that I'm really good at that because God is a creator and he created me this way. Because it makes you feel, it could come across as you're being special. Isn't it so powerful when somebody compliments you or notices something great you're doing that they say to you, dude, you're so good at that? And for you to humbly say, oh, thanks, that's awesome, thank you. There's a ton of people that help me. Or we have an awesome team. Or we have one of the best coaches in the league. It's been awesome. Or I've been working out with a group of people for quite a while and it's really helped. You get what I'm doing? You're constantly receiving, but you're pointing people back to the goodness that you see around them. That's how you shine in the light of Jesus. That's how you do it. Super excited tonight for you guys to talk in your groups about this. What I'm asking is if you could do this. Many of us want to get in a group tonight and be like, okay, we talked about pride. Ron challenged us. Don't talk great about yourself. Let other people bring it up. Keep your eyes off yourself. Love other people. Shine the light of Jesus. And what we typically run into is we're thinking what's an idea? What's something I can say? Oh yeah, last year it's I hit the winning goal and I was bragging about it a lot, so I'm not going to do that anymore. Who cares? I'm talking about right here, right now, what's the real stuff that you can talk about? I have a feeling if we huddle up in our groups and we're real and we're open, we're honest, all of us can grow in this area. Every single one of us. You see, students, we serve a great God. He created us, he loves us, and he gave us our gifts and our abilities for a purpose. My challenge for you, for me, is that we use those gifts, abilities, talents to point people to Jesus. I want to pray with us. Let's pray together. God, you are good every single day, and we're thankful for that. We're thankful for your word that speaks truth into our lives. I pray that we could go beyond just talking about it, that we'd be doers of your word, that the challenge tonight to receive the gifts and the abilities that you've given us, but use them for good, for you, to point people to you, that we would embrace it and we would take it. Help it to be not just something we talk about here tonight. Help it to be life-changing in our lives. We receive it. We commit to it. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Well, hey students, thanks again so much for joining us for tonight's high school experience. I hope something resonated with you and challenged you. And whatever that is, we'd love to hear from you. So again, go ahead, comment in the chat below. Let us know what God's saying to you with what you experienced today. Again, if you're not connected with the group, we believe that there's no better way to do life than doing it together. For support, encouragement, prayer, please text the word students to 72020, students to 72020, and then we will pray for you, support you, whatever you need, we're here for you. If you want to stay up to date on everything that's going on around here and never miss an update, follow us on Instagram and subscribe to this channel right here on YouTube. We'll be here again next Sunday at 5, so please join us. And if you're able to, join us live on one of our campuses. If you've never been here before and you're not sure where they are, you can head over to our website, ccv.church, and then you can see all the locations and find the one closest to you. Once again, we will see you next week, and thanks for joining us.